Yo, the lies told that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, canvas open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lies to sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose, move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never to sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Woo! What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Woo! Yeah, not a very, very good morning for Russell Wayne. I hope that you guys can hear me using my crappier version of my laptop right here. So this is the Lion Villain Report, broadcasting live right now into our Facebook page. We are broadcasting live into our 52,000 plus villains right here getting ready for this NFL season. We're broadcasting live into the Detroit Lions News Podcast. Thank you to Joe Chapp and the boys for allowing us to be on your platform, as well as JC Sports YouTube channel. Please go subscribe there, and the Lions Villain Squad YouTube page as well. And also, we are on Roku. Roku being the Huddle Sports Network right there. And yes, that's where we are. It is the Lion Villain Report right here. And preseason is here. And I wanted to be able to get a chance to talk about some of these preseason games, and not just the Lions preseason game. We talked about the Lions preseason game on Friday after the game was over. Didn't really get to see much from the Lions, as we didn't play any of the starters. So it wasn't very exciting for Lion fan. I thought it was pretty exciting to actually get a chance to see Hendon Hooker out on the field. I thought it was exciting. Broderick Martin had a pretty good showing. The new look secondary looked good against the Giants second teamers. But all in all, it was a bunch of guys that were playing against each other that probably won't be on an NFL roster in 3 weeks for most of that game. But we did have some of the other teams in the NFC North play their preseason games, And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So, can you guys hear me? I don't even know if anybody can hear me. Hello? Is anybody hearing me? I couldn't get any of my audio stuff to work. And I'm using a different thing. So if you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up in the comments for me, so I can know whether I would invite Main Event Mike to be on the show, if it's any good here, if we're going to be talking about this preseason. Can you guys hear me? I don't have any drops again. Just got back from. Yes. Okay. We got Davey says that he can hear, and that's good. That's good. So we're talking about the NFL preseason games right here. And what I wanted to be able to do is talk a little bit about Jordan Love. You know, Jordan Love goes out there and I don't know what everybody else thought of the Jordan Love experience out there, but the guy goes out there 2 for 2, throws a bomb touchdown pass, drops the mic, and then walks off. And I'm not unrealistic right here to say that's exactly what you wanted to see out of Jordan Love if you're a Packer fan. And I know that's not what Lion fan wants to hear. Oh, what they want me to say is, it's just preseason. What's it going to do in a real game? Well, the Cleveland Browns are a very, very good defense. And even their backups are good defense. And for Jordan Love to go out there, go 2 for 2, and that bomb that he threw, this was, and I don't remember who it was to. I think it was Wicks. I think Wicks caught the touchdown pass, but it was stride for stride, right into his hands, incredibly accurate, and that's all you can expect out of Jordan Love, don't you think? Jordan Love go out there, and really doesn't matter what happened after that, because then you're just talking about a lot of preseason, 2s versus 3s and stuff like that. But when you look at Jordan Love go out there 2 for 2, dropping dimes, and that's all you can really, really expect out of your quarterback, right? Green Bay versus the Browns. They win 23-10. And you got what you wanted out of your first team. Now, the Lions didn't play the first teamers. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the right thing to do. I don't think. I mean, just because the Lions didn't do it doesn't mean that the Packers did it and all of a sudden it's like a bad thing. It's not. Some people think that getting the reps and, getting them into game shape beforehand is smart. You want to put them out there. Sean Clifford goes out there and does 10 for 19 for 111 yards. You probably want to see him be a little more accurate when it comes with that. Emmanuel Wilson starting to show out again. He was last year's preseason darling for the Green Bay Packers. Grant DeBose, 5 receptions, 66 yards. So there's some guys that are out there that are making a name for themselves on the Green Bay Packers. I thought that was a pretty impressive win. It was a pretty impressive showing for the Green Bay Packers and their depth. So what do you think about that? Green Bay Packers beat the Browns in preseason. And I know it's just preseason. I'm not going to get too up and I'm not going to get too down on anything. So really what you're looking for in preseason is what's good, because the things that aren't good are usually made by guys that aren't even going to make the roster. So let me know. Mike's in there saying one pry. Mike, you can come on in here and talk about some of the stuff. If they can actually hear me and we can do this, then we can actually have a conversation. If not, I'll just talk to y'all through here. Chance Lax, One Pride. What's up? What's up, Chance? Thanks for putting up with my unprofessionalism in the beginning, just because, I wish that we had better stuff, but it is what it is. So, what's up, Joseph? Hendon, the running quarterback, got hurt. Didn't see that coming. Davey said, yes, he can hear me, right? What's up, DL Elliott? What's up, Troy Watts in the house? Davey says that he's hearing me. Scott Harrison says that he's hearing me. And Jeff says, people freaking out over preseason games makes me laugh, especially the offensive line. No team has depth. Most teams, he's like 3-4 starters, and we have 5. That's a good point. I like that. If I had my Kirk Cousins, I'd say, you like that. Mike says, One Pride. Elise says, reporting is eligible. LOL. And thank you for reporting eligible. Elise, the queen of memes. She is part of our Villain Squad network now. She's making good content. She's able to put it out onto the Villain Squad page so you can see some of her work. You should go over and like her page too. Elise, the queen of memes. Broski Bear's in the house. He can't wait to hear me talk about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams. You look like an NFL quarterback. I think that we do freak out about preseason, because if I told you that there were 2 quarterbacks that played in preseason, right? One of them went 5 for 9, and the other one went 4 for 7. And the one who went 5 for 9 added another 40 plus yards on the ground. And one quarterback's getting talked about like they're going to change their franchise forever. And the other quarterback, from that fan base, we say pump the brakes. And I'm talking about Caleb Williams, and I'm talking about Hendon Hooker. Very, very similar stats. And I don't know. It's preseason. I'll tell you what. I was watching the highlights of the Caleb Williams stuff. I'll tell you what, that little flip that he did to DeAndre Swift for like 40 yards was impressive. That was an impressive play. He was a plus player. And this is where we do pump the brakes, right? He didn't score a touchdown. On a second string defense. So if we're going to crown the guy already, I think that's a little bit premature. Yeah, a couple of the throws that he had weren't really good throws. He threw one of them into traffic, could have been intercepted. I don't know. If you want to crown him off of that, that's fine. But I think it's way too early to be crowning anything, especially if you don't. If you're not going to give the same adoration to Hendon Hooker, who truck sticked the runner like a man on that run, man. He plowed over that safety. He proved that he belongs at least with the big boys. So pump the brakes. Pump them brakes. Yeah. Hey, Steve, if you missed at the beginning here, I'm trying to give your boy Jordan Love some props, because I know it's just preseason. But Jordan Love did what you would want your starter to do when he goes out there and throw a bomb. Dime. That was a dime. That was the best throw out of any quarterback from any team that was in the NFC North, was Jordan Love throwing that sweet dime. And I think it was Dontavian Wicks. You probably tell me, Steve. It was Wicks, right, that caught that touchdown pass? Who caught the touchdown pass from Jordan Love? 2 for 2. That's what you want out of your guy. Broski Bear says preseason means nothing. However, Caleb looks like he belongs. The offensive line has been solid for the first 3 preseason games. Not that that means anything, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, Caleb didn't do anything that made me think that he wasn't an NFL quarterback. But I know that there's a storyline out there that he looks the part already. Oh, he's already going to be the best quarterback. Did you see that preseason game? And I'm like, yeah, I did. He completed a little over 50% of his passes against second and third string teams and drove his team down the field. That's what you want out of your quarterback. He looks like he has progressed. He looks like he doesn't look like he's afraid of the moment. And he's going to have his full complement of weapons. I'm sure they didn't have everybody out there. So I'm not there. The thing is about preseason is I wouldn't really use preseason to crap on anybody, because that's not what you're looking for in preseason. Because the bad players that are in preseason don't make the team. I mean, that's fair, isn't it? Fred says, I see so many Bear fans that are on top of the world because they're 2-0 in preseason. Admittedly, CW looks decent in preseason. He's thrown like 7 passes, guys. 7 passes. So it's way too early to pass any judgment on that. I mean, really, if I'm micromanaging, I'm going to say that one of those passes he threw was ill-advised. And just in the same thing I'd say about Hendon Hooker, too, is when he rolled out of the pocket, too fast. When the pressure came in, Hendon Hooker did it and Caleb Williams did it. But he still went out of the pocket and completed a pass. Same thing with Hendon Hooker. It's like, if I'm going to micromanage, right? I'm going to micromanage these things, then that's what I'm going to say. Don't want to be micromanaging. But then I look at J.J. McCarthy. Let's talk a little bit about J.J. McCarthy. Now, J.J. McCarthy threw 2 touchdown passes, right? And that, at first glance, that's the one that's going to look like it's the best, right? Hold on one second. I'm going to shut this bad boy off behind me. All right. Yeah, I've been so J.J. McCarthy threw a pick against the best defense that he faced. So to me, that is more of a red flag than anything else that's happened out of that. Out of all the teams in the NFC North, if the one that should be worried the most would probably be the Minnesota Vikings. And he did throw 2 touchdown passes against the worst part of the defense, probably against guys that won't be on an NFL roster. And he threw those passes to those wide open guys. He made those throws. You can't take it away from J.J. McCarthy, but he threw an ill-advised pass at the beginning against the best defense that he faced. So out of all the teams, I think that J.J. McCarthy has the longest to go. He's the one that looked the least of the part. He looked like he played the part the least, was J.J. McCarthy. But, you know, in his defense, he's probably going to sit behind Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold looked pretty confident back there. So, I mean, I don't know. He might be your best chance here at the beginning. I mean, J.J. McCarthy still got a ways to go. I saw that. He looked skittish. Did have some confidence at the end. But like I said, you're playing against – what are you playing against at the end of the game? So you don't want to be throwing interceptions in there. But I liked what I saw out of Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams looks like the part. I'm not going to go as far as to say I'm scared of Caleb Williams by what I've seen, like some of the Bear fans want us to do out there. I'm not scared of Caleb Williams by what I saw, but he did not look like the moment was too big for him. He looks like a good rookie quarterback that still has some things to work on. And, but when I look at Jordan Love looks like he's going to pick up right where he left off. Broski Bear says, Russ, the bar is extremely low for Bears QB. Comparing Caleb's performance to Fields' fumbling performance with the Steelers, you can see how the Bears fans are excited. Hey, listen, you're you're right. You're right, Broski. You're right. Like, I would feel way better about Caleb Williams than I did about Justin Fields. And I don't even want to tell you to pump the brakes on that, because this is if you're a Bear fan from a talent perspective, you should be feeling really good. You got a great starting cast on both offense and defense. The depth, you might say needs some work, but the thing is you don't need depth until you need depth. So you got a roster you could throw out there, and Caleb Williams is in the best position. And I said this 100 times on here. Caleb Williams is in the best position that any rookie quarterback really maybe ever has ever faced. Because when you're picking number one, you usually don't have a lot of talent on your team at that point. You're usually picking a quarterback to try to resurrect a franchise from the dead. And I think that Ryan Poles has already resurrected it from a roster standpoint. And then you drop Caleb Williams into that. He's in a good situation. I mean, I would say that he's in such a good situation that the fan base does have some expectations. I mean, a dude throws for 4,000 yards. He's going to be the best Bear quarterback ever. So I like the situation that Caleb Williams is in. I don't like the situation I like the situation that J.J. McCarthy is in, but he definitely looks like he is the one that needs the most work out of all the quarterbacks. And that includes Hendon Hooker. Because if you're just going pound for pound, I mean, honestly, it's like I'm not going to get too overjoyed about anything. But Hendon Hooker went out with a concussion, but he looked the part. When he went out there, he moved the Lions offense right down the field within that. Now, granted, it's against 2s and 3s, right? There you go. It's against 2s and 3s. Oh, wow. He sticked a safety that's not going to make the roster. I get that, right? But he looked the part. He didn't look like anything was coming at him too fast. He did go 3 and out from the first one, but it didn't show in his poise. And the next drive he takes it straight down there. So we pause. That's what we do. We're going to watch this preseason. We're going to look at the guys that stood out, that looked really, really good. Right? So You got Jarvian Howard, right? 8 carries for 44 yards. Emmanuel Wilson with 13 carries for 61 yards. And then we have, let's look at the Bears. Bears, Packers. Bears versus the Bills. Let's look at their box score in here. Let's really look at that, right? You had Caleb Williams, who was 4 for 7 for 95 yards. Tyson Bagent was 5 for 8. Even Tyson Bagent looking pretty good too, right? Ian Wheeler, 5 carries for 43 yards. He's the one who ripped off that long one. Rushing, Velus Jones Jr. getting 6 carries. You're going to be using him more in the trickery plays. Is that your Deebo Samuel? Okay. Broski. Travis Homer. I mean, you had Khalil Herbert was the one that had the most carries and he averaged the least. So DeAndre Swift with a 42-yard reception off a nice little shuffle pass. It looked like Caleb was going to get sacked, and I think he threw it with his left hand. Looking pretty slick on that play. Dante Pettis with 1 catch for 34 yards. It looked like you got these guys on some of the trickeries. Oh, I didn't know. DJ Moore playing. Cole Kmet playing. So you had a lot of the starters getting some work out there for the Bears. And that's fine. I have no issues with, Bears going out there and utilizing some of this preseason. And then you had the Vikings versus the Raiders, right? And what did you think? What did you think of the Vikings versus the Raiders? I mean, did you watch the entire game? Or can anyone actually stomach a whole preseason game? I mean, I'll tell you what, there's when you look at these preseason games, it's like we get all hyped up. You get all hyped up and you're so excited to see your guys. And then 5 minutes into the game, you're like, oh my God, like this is my team. And I don't even know half of these guys that are playing. A lot of these guys are, what they call the camp bodies. And I don't know. You're not looking at real football. You're looking at situational football. Like I don't know if you noticed this, but in preseason, it seems like they really try to create situations that they can practice in. I want to see how my team reacts on 3rd and short. So we're going to bring in that package. We'll show that couple. And it's not like, I'm not saying they're not trying as hard, but it's not like they're putting a chess board together, right? They're playing checkers in preseason. You're not getting the nuts and bolts. You're not getting schematically like, okay, this is how I'm going to attack this team, and we're going to scientifically go down the field. They're like, I want to see this play work. I want to see this play work. And they're not getting called in any like rhyme or reason. I mean, I don't know how many coaches are out there, schematically trying to get it done on preseason. They're really just looking for certain plays, and they want to see certain guys on those plays to see if they can handle it at the NFL level. Broski says, good morning. God, I'm going way back down here. Let's see. Steve says, glad that you and the family had a safe trip home. I appreciate that. It's a long trip. That's why I had to cancel the Saturday show. That was a travel day for us. And we were actually home at that time, but I was sleeping. We ended up getting home at like 5 o'clock in the morning. After driving, we did the full 14-hour drive, or I did the 14-hour drive. Didn't want to, my wife gets nervous when people are driving. So it's like, she's defensive driver. I'm an offensive driver. So when you're going through Chicago, and Broski knows this, Broski, I tell you what, you drive through Chicago and it says 55 miles an hour. And if you're going 55 miles an hour, you're dead or unalived. You're not going to last very long going 55 mile an hour on some of them expressways. Like, you got to go 85 through Chicago in that 55 just to keep up with the flow of traffic. Here's what it feels like if you're driving 55 and you're doing a speed limit in Chicago. And you're like, okay, I'm either going to have to really be nervous at 55 right here, or you just got to go faster. And my wife is a rule follower, and she's going to stick to that. I'm going to drive through Chicago. How about that? I'll drive through Chicago. But it's fun. I think it's fun because you might be going 85 mile an hour to keep up with the flow of traffic, but there's always a couple motorcycles that are doing like 130, zipping through everything. You can count on it. I think he goes riding out there through Chicago every night. Oh, Caleb says, CW looks and reminds me of Dak. Okay. I think that any Chicago Bear fan would take that. As much as we make fun of Dak Prescott not getting it done on the big level right here, the regular season for Dak, you can count on him to throw for 4,500. And I think that if Caleb throws for 4,500, that they'll take it. Fred Peterson says, I'm not scared of either one, but I'll take it. I'll take Jordan Love over CW. Sure. I got you. I feel you on that one. You like that. Jerome Salters, did you see DeAndre Swift? He stayed hurt with us, and he ain't hurt with anybody else. Hey, it is what it is. And there's a difference. There's a difference with DeAndre Swift. God, I don't know. Maybe there isn't a difference. Maybe they just got better luck going in there. But he went to the Philadelphia Eagles, who had the great offensive line that were good for running, and he averaged not very much after contact over there, but they blocked well for him, and he had 1,000 yards, man. He deserves his flowers for that. But I don't know. We'll see if he can stay upright this year, because the Bears' offensive line is definitely not as good as the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's not an insult. It's just a fact of life for this year. Even with Jason Kelce gone, that there's just something about the way they draft guys over there. They do well over in Philadelphia right there. But yeah, I'm sorry, Jerome. That it is what it is. Fred Peterson says CW throws for 4,000 yards. Best Chicago QB ever. But that's not a very high bar. Yeah, I remember when the Lions drafted Matt Stafford, and it was like it wasn't going to take much to be the best Lions quarterback ever. And he surpassed them, the yard marks and everything very quickly when it came to that. I think that CW has a chance to do the same thing, as long as Eberflus doesn't ruin him. Like, like Chicago coaching has in the past. So Swift tripped over the yard line. Hey, I don't think that Swift is going to end up being the best running back on that team. So that's a good thing for the Chicago Bears. Fred Peterson says Swift won't stay healthy behind the Bears O-line. I agree with that. I was definitely posed every time I seen Sudfield. Can't stand him. He's got to go. I think that what you're saying, pissed. So Sudfield sucks. Sudfield should not be a backup. But Sudfield isn't useless, right? So Sudfield needs to be the third string quarterback because Sudfield can carry Jared Goff's bags and his notebooks that have all of the plays in it. And Sudfield can bring Jared Goff a coffee while he's studying film. And he might even be able to, because he's smart, he might be able to, help him see things a little bit differently. But by no and under no circumstances should Nate Sudfield be taking meaningful snaps for the Detroit Lions. So I feel you on that, but if he can make the team on the practice squad, he has proven to be a help in the film room. That's all I'll say. I'm going to try saying positive stuff here, right? Fred Peterson says, I can't watch the whole preseason. The play is just bad. I really wanted to see Hooker and learn the rules of the new kickoff. What do you guys think of those? What do you think of the kickoff? It's a good question. Throw that in the comments. I'd like to know what you think of that rule. I think it looks goofy. I think they're really trying to force something there. Hey, Russell, good afternoon. What's up, Ken Fisher? You like that? Say hello to my little friend. Fred and Chance are in agreement here. Bears and Bills played their starters for the first quarter. Interesting. For the entire first quarter. So some players are played so they can see who's going to be traded. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And I'm sure that the Bears and the Bills didn't play every single one of their starters. That would be kind of unprecedented because some of the guys just ain't going to go out there. But I did see quite a few starters that were out there, and maybe they did play all of them. But Fred Peterson says, I didn't think that the Bills' defense is what it was the last couple of years. That made me true, because that's what happens when you go into cap hell and you start paying, everybody on your team. Everybody's going to go through it unless you know that you're drafting well. Broski says that he didn't watch, but I think that the Raiders are in for a long season. Yeah, if I'm a Minnesota Viking fan, I mean, if you want to take encouragement out of J.J. McCarthy throwing a couple touchdown passes to wide open guys against that defense and that third and fourth string, I don't know if you're going to be sleeping too well during the season. Because J.J. McCarthy throwing the ball and getting the ball picked off against that defense, he just doesn't look comfortable yet. He's got a long way to go. Speaking of the schematics of the new kickoff is really difficult to understand for the reasons why they changed so many things. Injuries are going to occur regardless if you're running 20 yards down the field or 45 yards down the field. You're still going to have collisions. But in the defense, Ken, I'm going to defend this part of it. You're still going to have collisions, but you're not having a guy run with a 30-yard full head of steam trying to get down there as fast as possible. You're getting the collision of almost like the collision of a regular run play rather than a full speed. So I understand what they're trying to do. It just isn't translating with the rule yet. I don't think it's dumb. Like of the schematics on it. That's just my opinion. It's one of those things. I think it's goofy. It looks weird. It's confusing, and I think there's going to be some games that are won and lost based off of people not really understanding yet. And that sucks. That sucks because you really just want to see the two teams go head up. I'd almost rather see no kickoff than to see what this is. So maybe that's what they'll do. Fred, you're not stupid, man. The Bills defense isn't going to show their cards in the preseason. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We're smarter on this show. The fan base is smart. You guys are smarter on this show. I don't think that we have to worry about anybody being too over up or too over down on anything that's happening in preseason. So Steve says, I agree, but I don't think they have the playmakers that they used to due to the cap issues. And that's very true. But everybody goes through that. And really, in their minds, Fred, they probably have their next man up mentality. They probably drafted some guys over the last couple of years that are going to step into those starter spots. So they probably have all the confidence in the world. Sarah says, good morning, folks. We were already talking. We were talking about the NFC North today. Sarah, looking at all of these preseason games that everybody's going to overreact to. Jerome Salters, so right, but not this fan base. I think that the NFC North fans that we have in this chat are smarter than any of the other fans on the other shows. Because even when we troll, we try to troll from a place of knowledge, right? We try to use facts to back up our stuff. We're not just meaningless trolls out here. We make our predictions and we troll based on our predictions, right? And you guys do the same thing. Like I don't see as many outrageous takes in the chats like we used to. No team is going to show their cards on preseason on either side of the ball. Sweat and a couple other starters on defense didn't play. The Bears in Buffalo kept the Bills out of the end zone and won 33-6. So what are you going to say to that? Like if we're gonna try to troll the Bears right here, right? 3 fan bases against 1. We're gonna troll you, broski. There's really nothing that we can say. I mean, what are you gonna say? Like I said, I could go and micromanage the things that Caleb Williams did. You know, you could say that he rolled out too fast, but he still completed the pass. You know, you can micromanage, but the bottom line is the depth is showing that they can play. And it's like, well, the Bills didn't play their starters. Well, like Broski says right here, they're not going to put their big dogs out there. And neither are the Bills. Like the guys that they know are going to make the team. You think Sweat is sweating making the Bears? I mean, they just signed him to a big multi-year deal. It's like, we don't want him out there. We just paid him. Why would you stick a $20 million a year guy out there to risk him in a game that don't matter? So, yeah, I get that. You know, there's nothing that you can say about the Bears other than they destroyed the Bills in a preseason game. That's what you want. Would you rather see them get destroyed? And then you'd be making fun of them more. I'm not going to make fun of the Bears for winning. My QB gave me hope. See, Sarah has the hope in her team. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to be too hard on JJ McCarthy for throwing a pick against the best defense that he faced all night. Like, I'm going to point it out. It happened. And, you know, if your 2 touchdown passes, Sarah, gave you the hope that you needed, then that's cool. Because J.J. McCarthy is the future of your position. And even if he didn't look, you know, 100%, like, he needs work, Sarah. He does. He needs to spend some more time. He isn't better than Sam Darnold right now. But Sam Darnold is actually better than what people think he is. So, but Sam Darnold, I'm actually thinking as of right now, from what I saw, I think Sam Darnold would win the starting job if the game was next week. And I don't think that he would do that bad, honestly. I mean, Sam Darnold's been a starter in this league before. He's never had the cast of characters that the Minnesota Vikings have with, you know, Justin Jefferson and stuff. So I wouldn't sleep on these guys on the offense. It's the defense that has the most to prove in there. But like I said, it's a preseason. We're not going to get too high. We're not going to get too low. Broski Bear said, I lived in Chicago area when I was young, grew up mostly in the Philly area. No, I drove through Chicago. I tell you what, that was, it's not scary, but for somebody that's never been through Chicago before and you see that 55-mile-an-hour sign, like it takes an adjustment. You know, when the average speed is like 85, the speed limit says 55. So in your mind, you're like, man, I don't want to get a 30-mile-an-hour over ticket, right? But if you don't go 30 mile over, you're going to get, I don't know, almost ran off the road with people just weaving in and out. They just drive faster in Chicago. They just do. I mean, I don't mind it. I like being able to zip through there and take time off of my GPS where they're expecting me to drive 55 through that area, just watching the time carve because I'm doing like 85, 90 the whole way. That's Chicago, baby. That ain't anywhere else. Can't get away with that anywhere else. You can't even get away with 85 and a 70 down in Arkansas. But for some reason in Chicago, they all love to drive really fast. Good morning, Maurice. Maurice, go Lions. You like that? Love that we got some Lion fans in here. I think that the Lions are going to replace him. Should not. I think the Lions are going to replace him. Should not. I'm not sure who we're talking about right there. Does anybody know how many CW jerseys have been purchased? That's a good question. I mean, you're a Bear fan, broski. You're going to go out and buy yourself a Caleb Williams jersey? Are you betting on it? Are you betting on him to be the franchise? Thomas chimes in. Just, by the way, Nate Sudfeld sucks. Drops the mic. Thomas is out. Thank you for the comment, and I agree. Steve says, Bean. Ben purchased. Bean. Oh, good. Jaguars have it figured out. Jerome says, I like it. You don't get your head taken off, and you know that it's a downside to it, you know. Okay. I like it. Don't get your head taken off. What are we talking about right there? Let me look through here. QB is tough to figure out. Remind me of your Fields comparison, Broski Bear. I don't know. Caleb Williams is different than Fields. Caleb Williams, I mean, he's not as athletic as Fields. Oh, by the way, we just stopped broadcasting into the huddle. So we want to welcome everybody that was on the Huddle Sports Network over to one of these spots right here. I didn't remind them, but I'm sure that they know. The Huddle graces us with their network up until 11 o'clock. And when I go over, and I'm not really going over, I got started late today, but when I go over, we're going to get some of these guys that are coming over from the Huddle Sports Network. So welcome to the program. This is the Villain Report over here. And Joseph says the QBs are tough to figure out for sure. Remind me of your Fields comparison. And I don't think that there's a comparison to Fields. Fields is a run-first quarterback, and that has proven not to really work in the NFL. So that's why he's a backup over in Pittsburgh right now. And Caleb, being a throwing quarterback, that remains to be seen, but he looks like he can throw the ball better than Fields. So, Steve, I can't find the number, but he set the record. He passed Caitlin Clark, but that's all that I'm finding. I'm in the middle of this. JJ was playing with the backups. He took his first TD was between two defender. The second TD was a wide open TD that I could have made. I mean, there wasn't a player on that within 15 yards of the player on that. I mean, he's playing with backups. Like I said, I'm not going to get too high or too low on any of these guys. So Fred Peterson says, yeah, I didn't care much for the new kickoff, but it may grow on me. Sure. I don't know. I think Stephon Diggs should have stayed in Buffalo. I don't think they wanted him in Buffalo, Jerome. Stephon Diggs left, when you look at that marriage breakup between Stephon Diggs and the Minnesota Vikings, and then you watch the way that he left the Buffalo Bills, and then you wonder, okay, now there's two teams. So I think maybe the Minnesota Vikings did right by getting rid of him. We could say that. I don't give Kwesi any very much credit, but if Kwesi pulled that move off of the Stephon Diggs, I'll give him credit there, right there. Sarah says Dallas Turner was wrecking the Raiders starting tackle. Yeah, he was awesome against that guy. So Dallas Turner's a good pick. That was somebody that I wanted the Lions to take as an edge rusher. I'm glad that we got Terrion Arnold, because as much as I wanted a Dallas Turner, I thought that we needed cornerback help more than we need. Because last year the Lions didn't. They were in the top of the league in pressures, but not sacks, and that tells me, just almost default that your cornerbacks aren't able to cover as well. And if you get better cornerback play, that your sacks are just going to go up, like, as a byproduct of that. So I like the Dallas Turner pick, especially after losing Danielle Hunter. You might have got your guy right there. Let's see it. Jerome Salters, I think the Detroit Lions got a chance to go undefeated on 17. I don't know, man. That's not I can't subscribe to that, Jerome. This is the NFL. This is the NFL where the Arizona Cardinals, the worst team, have a chance, or let's say the Patriots, the worst team, can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So the parity and the talent gap between teams is not as big as you think it is. It's not as big as you think it is. Russell, you got that right. They just make J.J. McCarthy the starter. I'm hoping, they don't, if he needs some work. Yeah, but they don't. But that's why they got Sam Darnold. I don't think the intention was ever to start J.J. McCarthy. I don't think they're going to trot him out there too early, because they got a good head coach over there that definitely deserves some credit for taking a team that didn't have a lot of talent last year and making the most out of it. Brian Flores piecing that defense together with some, some bubble gum and some duct tape, putting it together, and it was okay. It was okay. I didn't expect them to win 7 games last year, and especially after Kirk Cousins went down. So I think they overachieved. What do you think about that? Did the Minnesota Vikings overachieve last year in your eyes? I thought they were better than I thought they were, even though they tied for last place. But they did play better. And I'm not sure if I like the J.J. McCarthy pick yet. We'll see. To me, Sarah's encouraged about that performance because he threw the 2 touchdown passes, and that's fair. I would pause as a Viking fan and say, hey, that first interception that he threw was against the best defense that he faced. So I'd be like, whoa, he needs some more work. He looked uncomfortable against the better defense of the Raiders. So, but the good thing is that's why you brought in Sam Darnold. You don't have to trot this kid back, trot him out there. It's almost like let Sam Darnold go out there and take a beating for you for the first, 6-7 weeks, and let him play himself out of the spot. That would be my call if I was running the Vikings. I would consider, house money when it comes with the team. I wouldn't be expecting the Vikings to do really well in this year, but they could overachieve through coaching. They got more talent. You got more toys for Brian Flores that are younger, that not a lot of people know about. And the offense is loaded. You had an injured quarterback, Nick Mullins, carving people up last year. So I don't know if McCarthy's better than Mullins or Darnold, but he's a developing quarterback. You don't want to trot your quarterback out there. You don't want to be in the position like the Bears where you have to put your quarterback out there. In the Bears situation, like I said, it's a little bit different because they have a lot of skill in that area too. So Jerome also says that, but the boss of that team is Justin Jefferson. Whatever Justin Jefferson he gets, and I think that J.J. McCarthy is his quarterback. Okay. Then the thing is like sometimes when you throw guys to the wolves, I mean, it might force him to be better quicker. I think the offensive line is good enough that they could support J.J. McCarthy going out there and handing the ball off a lot to Aaron Jones and, doing a more of a run first at the beginning. If they do it, that's probably what they're going to do. They're probably going to lean on Aaron Jones. They paid him that money. They might as well run the shit out of him. Fred Peterson says JJ's a decent quarterback. Hopefully he can work through his problems. And like I've said before, he almost cost Michigan in the championship game, but mature quarterbacks still sometimes make those same mistakes. I mean, let's go back and really look at this. Tom Brady wasn't even a starter on his team in college. So, same college. There you go. Mistakes will help work through those. There you go. Broski says, Russ, I've never owned a player jersey and most likely never will. He's not going to support the corporate nightmare that is the NFL. The millions. Why have billions when you can have millions? Kind of look like him, don't I? Shoot. I shouldn't have said that. Now you guys are never going to see me the same ever again. Yeah, the corporate part. And that's a cool thing about the Villain Squad is we're not corporate. We don't got a payroll. We're just a couple of guys, Mike and I. We're just a couple of guys that like football. We're Lions fans. Started the page. We create all of our own content. You know, all of the misspellings are mostly me. Mike's a proofreader. I don't really spell very well, so you can blame all the misspellings on me. But we just put the content out there, man. We're watching football and we're fans just like you guys are. You know, we're blue collar Facebook page right here. We just put in the work and put in the grind. We don't hire nobody. We do the work. We do all the designing, all the cute little stuff that you're seeing, all the Roku and the backgrounds and stuff. I make that, or Mike makes it, or Elise Memes makes it. So we're blue collar. I like that. We ain't corporate. We ain't white collar. I mean, I love me some Woodward Sports. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Braylon Edwards. I love me some Darren McCarty. Shout out Darren McCarty. My band got to play with his band Grinder back in the 90s. That tells you how old I am. But shout out Darren McCarty, Woodward Sports. They're doing it right over there. They got the good corporate structure. Maybe someday we'll be able to hire some people to do some stuff for us. But right now we're just in the grind. We don't mind grinding. It's all good. The kickoff. Let's see if I got any more questions in here. I love that you guys have a conversation with each other. Chance says that the Vikings definitely overperformed, lost Jefferson, and had like 12 different QBs. The funny thing is like it seemed like they lost more games with Jefferson than without him. Addison really came on. They had a good balance in between that. But, you know, Jefferson's more of a big threat guy. Like, he's going to kill you on those deep things. And if he hits 2 or 3 of those in a game, he blows you up. That's the hard thing about Justin Jefferson. Addison's more of a guy that I think is your, you know, slot guy where you're going to get the multiple targets, 100-plus receiver type of dude. But yeah, that was really weird. You know, you lose your quarterback, you lose your best receiver, and then all of a sudden your team takes off, which is cool. Broski says, I think the Vikings have a solid roster, top to bottom, both sides of the ball, much like the Bears. QB is the biggest. I don't know if I can subscribe to that on the deepness, but they have a lot of young players. I still feel the Lions have the deepest roster in the NFC, not just the NFC North, because there's some guys that are going to be not making our team that are really, really good. I mean, the Lions ain't even playing. I mean, it's almost like they started some of the third string guys, had 0 of the offensive linemen that went out there, and got some competition for way, way back of the roster for the Lions. But I don't think that the Vikings have a really deep roster. I think they have some solid players, and I think that they drafted well this year, especially with the first two picks. Russ, I can get the Truck Alliance is going to pick up your show and be a sponsor because you run a good show, man. I speak it into your life. I would love that. The Truck Alliance, man, we'll support truckers. Oh yeah, we'll support truckers that support us. I'll tell you what, I was out there driving to Arkansas, and I have so much respect for the truckers because of all of the buttholes that they have to deal with on a regular basis that don't understand that an 18-wheeler needs space to get in and out, and they got to be able to switch their lanes, and you got all these people trying to get one more pass in, and they got to put up with so much bad driving that's out there. And I don't know. I love playing the rules. When you're driving through Arkansas, you're over in the fast lane. You get over to the right lane the minute that you can. so you can keep the pass flowing go. Like, even if there's nothing in between you, you get on that right-hand lane until you have to make the move. And when there's only 2 lanes, these truckers that have been like, I guess they save gas by, I can't remember what they call it, but when you're right behind a trucker, you can like benefit from their wind that helps you. I can't remember what you call it, but they pass each other all the time, and you have to be aware of that. And so many people are bad drivers when it comes to that, and they're only thinking about themselves, and they don't think of the flow of traffic. And so, yeah, much respect to the truckers that are out there and the bull crap that they got to deal with. So thank you for that, Jerome. Speak life. All of these puppies in the north, while the real dogs are locked in the kennel in Allen Park. Hey, the Lions can feel great about their team. That's the thing. I came on here today to give some attaboys to the rest of the NFC North, because here's the way that I feel about it. All of the teams in the North got a lot better. I think that the NFC North may just become the best division in the NFC this year. But the Lions are still at the top of that division, and you ain't taking this NFC North title off of us. And it's not because you're not good enough. It's because we won't let you. Yeah. It's reasonable to get excited about our team, but still considered that we may have some weaknesses as last year. When I look at the weaknesses from last year, if we had an average secondary for this Lions team, we would have won the Super Bowl. It wasn't average. It wasn't below average. It was bottom. So it is reasonable to be excited about the team. If you're still concerned, and I don't want to have the same weaknesses, but the thing is, we didn't double down on our weakness. We didn't triple down on our weakness. We didn't even 4 times down on our weakness. 5 players. Now, we already lost one of the players, but you get 5 players that are all better than the best guy that you had last year. When the guy that started in the NFC Championship at cornerback might not make the team in Kendall Vildor. And that's the weaknesses. Brad Holmes went in with a military grade upgrade on the secondary. And you could see it right off the bat. They only put those guys out there for a series. It was kind of like Jordan Love. Amik Robertson, Terrion Arnold, and Ennis Rakestraw. Look out. Look out. Those guys were so good that they took them out of the lineup after the first series. I've seen what I can see. These guys are going to be fine. Get them in there in practice. You got to get them some game experience. I understand that. That's why I tout Jordan Love so much for just going 2 for 2. He only threw 2 passes. You guys are just, it's just preseason. It's like, listen, if Matt LaFleur sends a dude out there and he's like, go do a series, and he's like, that's easy. Down, perfect pass. Like, Jordan Love looks. That was a scary throw by Jordan Love, and I know it's only preseason, but that was a dime. If that was up against the best cornerback in the NFL, and he was running stride for stride with him, that ball was perfectly thrown. It doesn't matter who was covering him. Jordan Love, that's what it is. That was a mic drop drive. Hey, go out there. Let's see. Let's get the rust off. Touchdown. Yep. Get Clifford out there. We don't need to see no more Love. Like, that's what it was like. That was by far the best performance out of any quarterback in the NFC North. Just because he goes out there, that's what you're supposed to do. Perfect. So, like, I don't know what trailed me into that, but that's right. Broski Bear says the Bears have a deep roster. I don't think that the Lions are deep at all. The Lions thin at DN, wrong. Thin at D tackle, wrong. Thin at linebacker, wrong. Thin at wide receiver, wrong. See, that's Broski. Broski, come on. I'm not even saying that you don't have a deep roster. Like, I'm not even throwing out things like that. They are not thin at defensive end. They have 6 guys that could start in that spot, and they're going to let go of a guy that's going to go start for another team. And at D tackle, did you watch Broderick Martin? Did you watch Levi Onwuzurike? They bet on their guys, and their guys were in the top 10 in pressures in defensive end last year. It wasn't defensive end that was making it so they were getting burned. It was the cornerbacks. When you have a lead leaguing in pressures, and it wasn't just Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson was a beast, but he plays 90% of the snaps. Defensive tackles, Broderick Martin looks the part. Aleem McNeil looks the part. Levi Onwuzurike looks the part. And I haven't even mentioned DJ Reader yet because he might not even be there, but they're fine at defensive tackle. Linebackers, 18th overall pick last year, Jack Campbell going into his second year. Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone. I mean, these guys were fine last year. It wasn't linebacker play. We weren't getting torched on the linebackers. Wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond. We have a guy competing for the 4th wide receiver spot. And tight end? Really? Sam Laporta and Brock Wright? Brock Wright would start for 10 NFL teams right now. As a tight end too. What are you talking about, broski? Come on, man. I ain't shitting on your team like this. I'm not going to go into your deficits from your guys that you don't know about. Arnold and Rakestraw might be the top 2 QBs by the end of the season. I mean, you're hoping so. I think that you're hoping so. But, you know, Carlton Davis is a pretty good cornerback. I think what they got was a bunch of different kind of cornerbacks. Like, you're looking for situations, right? You know, you want the fastest wide receiver to probably be covered by Terrion, right? Or Rakestraw, one of the faster cornerbacks. But then you got these big physical guys. You know, Carlton Davis is more of a press type of corner. He goes up against the bigger bodied receivers. So I like that call. We're probably the deepest. We played 300 third and fourth strings in the preseasons. Let's see. Other than Hutch, who are you starting on the other defensive end spot? Davenport, Houston, Pascal. That's not cutting it. But what are you talking about? Like, Houston had 8 sacks. The only reason he didn't have sacks last year is because he was injured. Like, you can't just say the guy isn't any good because he didn't play last year. I mean, Davenport, what's wrong with Davenport if he's available? Davenport averages a sack every 2 games. And here's the thing is, you're not looking for one guy opposite of Hutchinson. You're not going to have 2 guys. Hutchinson's going to be the only guy that's out there all of the time. You got to understand how we play defense in order to this shows me that you don't know how we want to play defense, because what you're looking at is a Davenport, Houston, Pascal rotation of guys that are all going to play like 20% of the snaps. They're going to play matchups. Houston rushes the passer different than Davenport. Davenport is more of a power guy. Houston is more of a speed guy. Pascal is a tweener guy. He plays inside and out. He actually rushes better from the inside than he does the outside. So they have different flavors that are in there. All 3 of those guys will make the team. They've even been putting Levi Onwuzurike out on the edge. They got all of these guys that play different spots. So in order, like if you think that we need depth there, it's like all of those guys offer something. We don't have starter, non-starter. You know, the big dudes that play the most of the snaps, you know, you want a guy like Aleem out there most of the time because he offers something on 3 different downs. So, I mean, if you want to argue depth with me, I mean, you're out of your depth on my team. I would do more of arguing depth on your own team. Tell me why your team, who's on your team that makes your team deeper than my team? Who do you have as backup pass rushers and backup tight ends, backup wide receivers, backup, you know, the 5th, 6th string guys? Like, I know who's on my team. Wide receiver Khalif Raymond, 5'8", 30 years old. Jameson has 25 career receptions. We'll see if he can live up to the overall pick. But the thing is what you're telling me that these guys are nobodies. We don't have depth because we have these guys. Why does it matter that Khalif Raymond is 30 years old when every time he catches the ball, it's for a first down? I mean, Khalif Raymond earned himself a $7 million a year contract. Now, is Khalif Raymond the guy that's going to be taking the top off? Is he going? But he's a viable number 3 option and has proven to be nothing other than that ever since he came to Detroit. A 3rd option. You want a guy that can catch 40, 30, 40 balls and make an impact. Khalif Raymond's fine. Are you really? You're chiming in on Khalif Raymond. Okay. Jameson Williams had 2 touchdowns in the NFC Championship. What have you done for me lately? This is a production league. And it's also who produced the most recently. This is a production league. Jordan Love just got $55 million a year because he played 10 games. Good. It is about what just happened. And if you actually look at what Jameson Williams did, all of his production came at the end of the season. He missed the first 4 games because he's an idiot, because he was young, decides to go gambling on an app. I mean, I don't know the details of that. I think they were a lot harder on him than they probably wanted to be. It was supposed to be a 6 game, and they moved it to a 4 because they were like, okay, that's kind of sucks. But Jameson Williams, that's why, hey, all I can say, you want to call Jameson Williams a bust already? I put a piece of content out there, and I get crucified. Well, you want to give him props, and he hasn't done nothing yet. I'm like, I'm not saying that he's done anything yet. I'm just saying that they didn't go and put another person into that spot when they lost Josh Reynolds and those 60 targets. They did nothing in that spot, and they didn't do it because they're dumb. They're doing it because they are betting on their draft pick, like they've been betting on their draft picks. So, Jameson Williams, when he's been averaging maybe 40 snaps a game, if you've ever played fantasy football, then you know that the guys that get more opportunities are the more valuable guys. And the Lions have a coaching staff that makes you earn it. That's frustrating to me for a guy that wants to see Jameson Williams go out there and get 10 targets a game. I mean, that's frustrating to me because I want to see Jameson Williams ball out, right? Make him the primary target. But the Lions were a top 5 offense without targeting Jameson Williams an obscene amount of time. And I think that was on purpose. It was week 12 before he got 40 full snaps in a game. And then the famous saying out of Ben Johnson was, no block, no rock. So they made Jameson Williams go out there and earn targets. And if you can watch him in the playoffs as he's breaking out as a wide receiver and you can just dismiss it, but because he's only got 25 career receptions, that's cool. That's cool. Like I said, please be the Bears, be the Packers, and be the Vikings, and think like that. Please don't cover him. He's just a bust. He's out there all fast, and yeah, he's probably going to gamble. I mean, I hope that the teams take your approach to it. Khalif Raymond's too old. Jameson Williams is a bust. Houston's played 9 career games. He's a stubby 6'1" guy who was a one-shot wonder as a rookie. Davenport never stays healthy. Pascal is average. Okay, shit on my team. I don't agree with you. I think it's weak. You say Houston's played 9 career games. He had 8 sacks in 9 games. 8 sacks in 9 games. Who do you have that has 8 sacks in 9 games? Nobody, because he was the first person to ever do it. Lions 19th ranked defense. Like, you need to improve how you play defense. We needed to improve our secondary, and we did. It's like, improve how we play defense. The team made it to the NFC Championship, broski. Jordan Love produced for an entire season. Jameson has never come close to doing that. We'll see. Jordan Love produced for a half a season. He was awful for the first games when they went 4-6, and all of the Packer fans went into witness protection on my show. They went into witness protection because they thought they were going to have an awful season, and they thought that Jordan Love was garbage for the first half of the season. He finished the end of the season. They had a nice run going into the playoffs, and then he came on at the end of the season. They're not taking anything away. They paid him $55 million. The Lions aren't anywhere close to paying Jameson Williams yet. 2 seasons. He's got 2 more seasons before they got to really think about that. So, Bears, top wide receivers, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze. Okay, who's your number 4? Who's your number 5? Because that's what we're talking about right here. And do you want to make a bet? You don't want to do embarrassing bets. But I think Jameson Williams will outproduce Keenan Allen this year. I'd be willing to put something embarrassing on that. That isn't money. Hey, guys, I just got banned from YouTube to make comments on videos. Have you ever seen that before? I've never seen that. It might be I have a cuss word filter on there. Just don't use profanity. And, you can use like different acronyms for profanity to say what you want to say, profane, but don't actually use the words. I don't know if that was why. So I apologize to you, Brent, if that was on there. And by the way, broski, I love having this conversation. Because it gives me a chance to learn a little bit more about your team. I would rather see what you think about your team with your depth and stuff like that, because I'm confident with all of the depth with all of those guys, because you're talking about 3rd and 4th string guys, and we use our guys different than you use them. And like, a lot of people have their guys is like, oh, it's the starter. And then if he goes down, then this guy comes in. And if he goes down, then this guy comes in. And we don't run it like that. Like what Dan Campbell says is every one of the guys that is up, that as the 48 guys that dressed, will have a play. They will go out there and contribute to the game in some way. Even if it's just 2 plays, you have a role. And then obviously if somebody's injured, your role increases. So we like to use all of our guys, right? So when you're talking about production from the other side, when it comes to defensive linemen and stuff like that, you know, like Broderick Martin is going to get a certain amount of plays in there, and they're going to play matchups. They're going to have a game plan that has certain guys in certain positions. And I don't know if everybody runs it like that. Like I said, most of them, you know, I mean, you probably deal with it because I think this is how Eberflus does it. Here are your starters. If this guy's gone and he gets injured, then this guy comes in. But this guy that comes in isn't going to have a role unless the first guy gets injured. And that's the way most players do it. That's the way most coaching does it. Good discussion. This is a good discussion on the depth. It's because, you know, I try to stop myself from being a homer, and I have to actually dive into the things that you're saying and really look at that, right? Well, do I still have confidence in Khalif Raymond? Because the people from the outside, you know, and I'm sure that Broski feels the same way as most people from the outside that don't like follow the day-to-days of the Detroit Lions, which I don't expect you to. You're a Bear fan. Just like you wouldn't expect me to go in there and follow every single thing of training camp. I do look at that type of stuff, but probably not as much as a Bear fan does. So when I look at Khalif Raymond, yeah, I mean, Khalif Raymond's coming to the back end of his contract, right? You know, they had him, they signed him to a deal, and he has a role with this team. You know, he's the punt returner, and then he's your wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 in a pinch. They got plays. He's got speed. You know, they might even scheme him a run play. So I don't – right now, Khalif Raymond at 30 is still playing at a high level number 3. Is he going to go to anybody's team and start? No, but he has a role with this team. Brent says, hey, Broski, are you starting problems? Oh, Broderick Martin is starting to shine. He would be better than Benito Jones. So this is what I'm talking about, Broski, right here. This right here is a great comment. Like, I don't think that our depth is like, you know, the greatest on planet Earth, but they have the depth, right? Last year, you have to realize that we were starting Benito Jones as one of the defensive tackles, and we believe in drafting and developing, and that's just so cliche when it comes to other teams, right? They always say that. Well, what we want to do is we want to be able to draft, well, develop the players. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's easier said than done, but the Lions have been drafting and developing players. They've been taking these 1-year project, 2-year projects, and then in the 3rd year seems to be this magic spice that happens. Like the big jumps happen in the 3rd year when it comes to the Lions. Derek Barnes as a linebacker, because you said we had no linebacker depth. Derek Barnes held off the 18th overall draft pick last year in Jack Campbell because him in his 3rd year, he was playing so well. It wasn't because Jack Campbell was a bad player. It was because he shined in his 3rd year as a linebacker, and he won that job, and Jack Campbell had to try to find his way onto the roster. You have to earn your way on the roster. And by the end of the season, Jack Campbell did earn his way onto the roster. So what does that do? That creates depth. We only start 2 linebackers at any time in this defense. It's 4-2-5 when you really look at it. So you're talking like Anzalone, you're talking Derek Barnes, you're talking Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez. That you got a good rotation of guys, different linebackers that are all good, that play different styles of football. And you only need 2 of them out there at one time. And when you have 3, you can actually have 3. You can spell one of them guys. But Brian Branch was such a good slot corner that you wanted to have him out there the whole time. So he kind of sufficed as that third linebacker. So Russ says, Broski says, Russ, you're good fans. I try not to drink the Kool-Aid for my team either. Yeah, Lion fans have been conditioned, Broski, to think the worst. It's a syndrome that we suffer from here in Detroit called PTSOL, which is post-traumatic same old Lions. So it's almost like we're conditioned to think that the absolute worst thing that could happen is going to happen. And, you know, it's something that the only cure for is winning. And the Lions had their first taste of any type of winning last year. And we don't know what to do with our hands because I don't think it's going anywhere. I think the Lions are going to be a tough out no matter what. I'm not guaranteeing that they're going to win the division, but I do think that they will win the division. I think the team is stout from top to bottom. But that is me drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid of progression, but only because I've seen evidence of progression, right? Since Brad Holmes has been drafting guys, the guys that he has drafted, he's got like a 800 batting average when you really think about it. I mean, everybody already sold out like Levi Onwuzurike. No one expected him to even be in the mix here, including me. When he was the camp darling, when Dan Campbell called him the best defensive lineman on our team in the training camp, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Levi, second round pick, I thought he had a broken back. And here's a guy that just couldn't get on the field because he couldn't get over his back. Now, he put on like 20 pounds, and can his back handle a whole season? I mean, I'll take any type of good play from him, you know, even if he is a depth piece. So my answer to the defensive tackle is Levi Onwuzurike on that, and that may be me drinking a little bit of the Kool-Aid. You know, Broderick Martin having a body transformation a lot like Aleem McNeil did before he had his breakout season last year. Really, he started to break out at the end of 2022. So what we're starting to do is see evidence of these second and third year guys, Derek Barnes, Ifeatu Melifonwu, who actually finished the season as a top 10 safety. You know, Aleem McNeil. Now you're in the third year of a lot like these Josh Pascals. Like everybody wrote off Derek Barnes going into his third year. Just like they're writing off Josh Pascal going into his third year. But the third year seems to be the magic recipe for these Lions guys in this system to do their breakout. So I'm not saying that they're going to break out. I'm just saying that there is a pattern in the coaching that says that we can trust these developmental players in their second and third year. Jerome says Khalif Raymond is a stud, man. Dude can get the ball. All-around player, yeah. That he's not Justin Jefferson, but you know, he's that guy that's on your team that you like. You know what I'm saying? God, I went way over today. You guys, great conversation, guys. I know that I went way over today. Hour and a half long show today. I gotta get this up here before I forget again and talk for another hour and a half. I love it. It's good stuff. I love a good conversation, guys. And we are probably going to be talking a little bit about this tomorrow. We'll probably get Mike on here. Tonight, don't forget, it's the Main Event Football Show. It's the Main Event Football Show with Main Event Mike. Hopefully we see you guys tonight. Mike's got some good topics for tonight. We were talking a little bit earlier, and I'm sure that we're going to hit some of these tonight. So, but now that we're coming to the end, it's so much more important to understand where we come from here, which is faith, family, and football in that order. Because the reason why this show works so well with other fans is because I genuinely care about you guys. And, you know, broski, I can't help that you like the Bears, but I like you as a person. I like talking football with you. Sarah, as a Viking fan, you know, I can't help that you like the Vikings, but I sure do like you as a person, and I wish the best for you. Steve is real. Yeah. One of my favorite Packer fans, A-Dub. And then all the Lions fans, shoot, Fred Peterson might be one of the greatest Lions fans of all time. God bless you, brother. Brent, Chance, Jerome. Got lots of new people up in here. I love it. I love it. People that love good football conversation. David. Jason. Doesn't matter what team that you fight for, that you fight for, that you talk for. It's faith, family, football in that order. Use football. Use football to spend time with your family. Create memories. You don't have to win championships to create memories with your family. It's not about that. It is about that, but it isn't about that. Use football to create memories with your family. Don't let football use you. Don't turn into a butt. Don't turn into a butthole if your team loses, because it's faith, family, and then football in that order. As long as we keep that, then I think that nothing can stop us as humans. Nothing can stop us. We can have a good time together. So I'll leave you with the blessing like I love to leave you with the blessing. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. And may the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again tonight for the Main Event Football Show with Main Event Mike. Peace out.
Hey yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, candles open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never this way. Me indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, it's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.